all of this craziness is unfolding in the NBA. It was like the people running the simulation just removed the tiniest amount of restraint. There were guys sitting, a bunch of guys sat. I think Giannis didn't play. Jason Tatum didn't play. No one, I don't think anyone played for the Phoenix Suns. So you take that, okay, resting stars, which means that bench warmers are going to get adequate playing time. They're going to get the most playing time that they've seen all year, but they're not going to get that kind of playing time against other elite players. They're going to get them against other bench warmers, especially if they're going up against a team like Milwaukee or Denver or Boston, a team whose seed is already secured. So you have that one half of the dichotomy where you got guys like Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser popping off. Like you got Trey Mann popping off. And then you have a team like the Lakers who is playing like their lives are on the line because more or less it is. They're jockeying for play-in seeds. Some teams are jockeying for play-in berths. Like just absolute craziness. And the fucking craziest thing that happened wasn't about a player's on-court performance. It was Rudy Gobert punching Kyle Anderson on the sideline like 13 minutes into the game. The Timberwolves fighting for a spot in the play-in or a seat in the play-in, whatever the fuck they were doing. Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert are on the sideline, jawing at one another for whatever reason. And Rudy Gobert just fucking reaches over and punches Kyle Anderson in the chest. The reports say that Gobert and Anderson were both being a little sassy to one another. Allegedly, Gobert went to Kyle Anderson and said, "Why don't you grab a rebound?" And to which Kyle Anderson retorts, "Why don't you block a shot?" And then Rudy Gobert gets up and punches Kyle Anderson. He attempts to assault one of his teammates. What made this even better was that Woj takes to Twitter to clarify or to add some more sauce to this pasta that the Hawks are cooking for, well, not the Hawks, that the Timberwolves are cooking for whatever reason. And he he goes, the Timberwolves had to suspend Gobert for throwing a punch, but accepted that it was a shot to the chest with no intent to injure Kyle Anderson and understood that Anderson called Gobert a bitch repeatedly on a night that Gobert was hurt. Kyle Anderson called Rudy Gobert a bitch, and he fucking punched him. And Woj tweeted it. It's awesome. It's awesome. So Gobert is not playing on Tuesday. When Gobert is not playing on Tuesday when the when the Timberwolves play the Lakers for the 7th seed. This was by far the funniest fucking thing that happened because Rudy Gobert gets traded to Minnesota for like 13 picks. I don't know. I'm sure there are some serfs that got sent over. I don't know how the fuck this happened. 13 picks, a bunch of players, and all for Rudy Gobert to stink it up all season long. And then punch Kyle Anderson. Okay, so what if he called you a bitch, bro? Dog, you had 2 points. You had 2 points at that point in the game. 3 rebounds. Maybe, Rudy Gobert, you should have not punched Kyle Anderson and fucking punched someone on the Lakers. So that way your ejection would have been more warranted. And actually, people would have thought like, okay, this is cool. NBA players are spicy. Because the difference between spiciness and sassiness is so thin. Okay, you punch your teammate, you're being sassy. You punch an opponent, you're being spicy. And then guess what? Everyone gets riled up. You fucking punch Austin Reeves, everyone on the Timberwolves gets riled up. And then guess what? Yeah, you get ejected from the game, but it's actually worth it. And then maybe you don't get suspended because the Wolves had to suspend it. They said that the Wolves had to suspend Rudy Gobert for throwing a punch, which I get it. But, come on, Minnesota, like of all the rules for you not to bend, like you're playing for a fucking play-in. You're playing for a playoff spot. So, not only that, but Jaden McDaniels fucking punched a wall on his way to the locker room and fractured his hand and he's out indefinitely. So now, Minnesota is down 2 of their key contributors going up against a Lakers team that could pull off a first-round upset. I was very, very not sold on the Lakers all season long. You guys know this. My hater cap, I loved being a hater. I loved hating on the Lakers. because I love being a hater. But after this trade, after the D'Lo trade, I still think Rob Pelinka fucked up everything to begin with. But this team looks legitimately good. Okay, they might beat Memphis in the first round. Okay, they're an elite defense now. LeBron is playing lights out. Anthony Davis is looking like an MVP. Austin Reeves is the second coming of Larry Bird. Larry Bird reincarnate. D'Angelo Russell is grown up. He's matured. He looks fantastic as well. Like this Lakers team could make some noise. But yeah, so safe to say, I think that Minnesota gets beat by the Lakers because like Minnesota is simply not healthy. But let's talk about the rest of the shit that happened on Sunday. Okay? The Warriors scored 55 points in the first quarter against the Blazers. 55, and they beat them by 56. They beat the Portland Trail Blazers 157 to 101, which means that the Warriors at that rate could have scored 0 points in the first quarter and mathematically still would have beaten Portland. That's preposterous. That does not make any sense to me. The final score would have been 106 to wait. Oh yeah, no, okay. It would have been 102. Pardon me. It would have been 102 to 101 the final score of that game. When you look at it like that, that's like holy shit. That was a dominant Warriors performance from one of the worst Warriors teams we've seen since this dynasty started. Okay? We also had a bunch of triple doubles. We were on Russell Westbrook watch. We were on Oscar Robertson watch. Theo fucking Pinson had a triple double. The guy who is most famous for dancing on the Nets bench had a triple double. Trey Mann had a triple double. Peyton Pritchard had a triple double as well. Although I'm not really too surprised by that because Peyton Pritchard has been playing serious minutes for Boston all season, and he's made a bunch of timely shots. He's a very, very solid rotational player. But he had a 30-point triple double. Udonis Haslem, in his final regular season game, had 24 points and made 3 threes. He now finishes his career with 9 made threes, a third of which came in this game. So, shout out to UD. I think that, shout out to Udonis Haslem. I'm not being a hater. I love watching guys go off right before they retire. I loved watching Kobe go for 60 before he retired. This is obviously not that, but I know UD is a fan favorite down in Miami. Listen, this guy has been through it all with Miami. Was there when they won like 16 games, won a couple championships, has played with LeBron, played with Shaq, played with D-Wade. Guy is a legend in Miami-Dade County, I would say. I would not be surprised if he gets a street named after him because you want to talk about loyalty? UD is loyalty. Dominic Barlow. I might sound like a little bit of a casual here. I had no idea who the fuck this guy was. And here he is having 21 and 19. So Dominic Barlow is a rookie for the Spurs. Okay? This motherfucker might as well be Tim Duncan. 21 and 19. This is like astounding to me because folks will see shit like this and think that they can go up against a benchwarmer in the NBA. Folks, this guy, Dominic Barlow, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. I think only Spurs fans know who this guy is. Plays minimal minutes all year and starts this game. The final game of the season has 21 and 19. Your local dudes at LA Fitness they're not even close. Just remember that. The worst player in the NBA will still give buckets to any amateur hooper. Okay? That's just facts. That's just facts. Kenneth Lofton, okay? Guys, Kenneth Lofton, G League Rookie of the Year. Very, very good player. Averaged like 20 a night for the Memphis Hustle. I think they are. I don't know. But averaged 20 a night for whatever G League team he plays for. He had been up and down with the Grizzlies all year long, so he's been getting NBA reps. He's been seeing NBA minutes. So you would think that he would have a respectable performance like 18 and 9 or like 16 and 7. Nah, fam. 42 points and 14 rebounds for Kenneth Lofton. Or, as I'm going to start calling him, Moses Malone. Because that's who this motherfucker looked like on Sunday. 42 points and 14 rebounds. When I saw that, I was like, okay, this is goofy. Because how? And he shot like 18 of 23 or something. Like, he was mega efficient. It's different when you get 42 and you shoot like 15 of 37. Like, you have a Dylan Brooks type shooting line. Because at a certain point, if you take enough shots, you will get there. But this guy is at like 2.5 points per. This guy's at like 2 points per field goal attempt, which is crazy for a dude who is a rookie, not even seeing like meaningful rookie minutes. So shout out to Kenneth Lofton. Another thing was McCall Bridges played 4 seconds to keep his Ironman streak alive. I believe he's now played in 383 consecutive NBA games, which is the longest active streak. So shout out to McCall Bridges. I love him. I cannot wait to see him in the playoffs this year. It is super funny though when you go to the box score on like the ESPN app and you pull it up and you see that McCall Bridges played 0 minutes because it's not even enough for them to round up. He played 4 seconds, was on for the tip, and then fouled immediately and was pulled from the game. So also in that game, Cam Thomas had 46. There's something about Cam Thomas where when he knows that he's the only guy who's gonna be taking shots, they all go in. Don't know why, but when he sees extended minutes and can get a sizable volume of shots, this guy gets buckets. And why Jacques Vaughn has refused to make him a meaningful part of the rotation, I do not know, because this guy's had 40 on multiple occasions this year. Technically, he is the highest scoring starter in the NBA with the minimum of 4 games. Okay, he started 4 games. He's averaging like 38 a night in those 4 games. There was that 1 week a couple months ago where he averaged 45. So chaotic performances are nothing new to Cam Thomas. And I want to close this out, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something because, it was a lot. I mean, like to see all of these guys putting up 20, like Sam Hauser had 26. I think Mike Muscala had like 25 or something ridiculous. I was really just trying to find the most unlikely, the most astonishing, the most remarkable performances, and then I stumbled upon the one performance that absolutely encapsulated NBA Easter, and it was Anthony Edwards. Now, Anthony Edwards is no stranger to having big stat lines. I mean, one of the better players in the NBA. Guy is just super good. And it's crazy because, like, I don't know if basketball is his best sport, but, undeniably all-star caliber player, future franchise cornerstone, or future, like, current franchise cornerstone for the Timberwolves. This guy had the most insane stat line I've ever seen. Not I've ever seen, but the most insane stat line this day. He scored 26 points. Okay? Not bad. 26 is pretty good. He shot 8 of 21, 38.1% shooting, added 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 4 blocks, and 8 turnovers. I don't know. It seems like this man was playing to forget everything that happened on the sideline with Gobert and Kyle Anderson. To have this guy almost had like a 7-by-5. He needed one more assist, one more steal, one more block, and he would have recorded at least 5 in every major category, in every major statistical category, which I think is something that we need to applaud. Because you need to be in a special type of position to have not just 26 points, but 8 turnovers. Because, this proves to me that Anthony Edwards is insanely confident because, after your 4th or 5th turnover, you're going to be thinking a little bit more on those passes. You're not going to pass as frequently. Nah. He's like, I know I got all these turnovers. I know that I just threw the ball to a toddler in the 3rd row on purpose, right? Because I wanted to knock the popcorn out of their hand. I'm still going to go out and I'm still going to facilitate, even though I have no business being a facilitator. So shout out to Anthony Edwards. Shout out to that performance. Ultimately, kind of meaningless because of everything that happened. But, at least he closed the regular season on a high note. Unfortunately, it wasn't high enough to prevent the jokes being thrown at his 2 teammates